Hello friends, welcome to Apex Chess Academy. This is part 3 of the Gajini pieces theme. And this game was played in 2009 and I played against some 1700 player in the tournament. But nowadays I won't advise you to play this opening which I played in 2009. Okay, so it is e4 c5 a3, and normally it's an improved version of the wing gambit. So in my early days actually I was used to play wing gambit, and then I simply moved to this move which is an improved version of the wing gambit. Still I occasionally played in I'm occasionally playing in some blitz tournament or some friendly matches, but in tournament, because I'm playing very last tournaments in a whole year, so I won't give a try to this opening. But it's one of my favorite opening all the time. Of course, I always eager to give a pawn in this this opening, but I normally worried about when my opponent is not taking over the pawn, so which is what I feel is the best way to play as a black. But this is what I really like to play, and it's really fun to play such kind of stuff where we are actually playing chess rather than just playing with opponents home preparation rather than. Okay, so here after a3, okay, one more stuff I would like to share with you. Actually this game I played in 2009, and in 2011 I come to know that there is a separate book on this. It was really surprising for me, where some author has written a whole book on e4 c5 a3. But yeah, actually one of the author Alex Bisgodo has written a beautiful book on e4 c5 a3. So the player who has not seen that book can just go through the Google and order it if you want to have it. But okay, and then okay, then actually I have ordered that book in 2011, and then I come to know that another author has come forward and wrote another book on the same e4 c5 a3 system. I didn't know the exact name of that author, but probably it was come around 2014, and which was again an improved version of that same stuff. But I have made my own notes in probably in 2000 maybe 7 or 8, and let's go through the game because it's really interesting stuff. Okay, so after knight c6 b4, so I bit worried about other knight c6 b4 and probably knight f6, or maybe second e6 b4 and then d5, which I have played against the GM Setu Raman, and he simply played beautifully and outplayed me in that particular line. So I would advise you to go for e6 d5 or knight c6 if you are checking this game as a black side, and that's why I don't recommend it to play in a serious tournament at least. Okay, so after b4, c b4, a b4, knight b4, and the move d4. If my opponent takes a pawn like this, I'm just a bit happy to play it every day. Okay, so after d4, my opponent played d5, then I played c3, knight c6, and e d5. Everything is theory so far. Okay, so after knight a3, white has tremendous compensation actually, in fact. So if you see after move number 7, white has not moved a single piece in game, where I will show you. I've played few games like this. So up to move number 7, 8 or 9 I have not played a single piece, but okay, which is just a break the rules basically. But here you can see my pieces are not developed. That does not mean that it's not active, because all my pieces are very active, its mobility is very good. And after knight a3, all my pieces are coming with a flow, because next move is this knight b5, knight c5, or bishop c4, bishop f4, knight f3, just castle and crushing through black scheme. So when I was playing with this player, his rating was 1700, but nowadays he's around 2100 or 2200. Okay, so after knight a3, knight f6, knight b5. So now my threat is knight c7, and here I have mentioned one move in my theoretical preparation where black played queen d8, and here you can pause the video what you can do after queen d8. Yes, so the correct move is d5, and the point is queen d5 is made by knight c7, and knight d5 is still made by queen into d5 with the winning the queen back with the move knight c7 after that. So let's move to move number 9, where my opponent played the move queen d7 instead of queen d8, and I don't like this move as compared to queen d8. Although this is difficult to suggest any move here because white's position always looks good to me. But after queen d7, I played d5 here. And now here, if knight e5, then I can play bishop f4, and if knight moves, then knight c7. But the point is, knight e5 actually provoke me to play bishop f4, coming my pieces with the thread, and that's why my opponent played knight b8. And now I played bishop f4. And now knight f6 is the only way to deal with knight c7, but still, white can crushing through the beautiful move. So again, you can just pause the video and try to find out the best move here. Okay, so rook into a6, pawn into knight c7 check, king d8, and another critical point. So still pause the video, try to find out the best move. Okay, so here actually I have spent around 35 minutes probably, and I come up with another move rather than knight into a8, and it is knight f3. Yes, so the point behind knight f3 is to go with the next move knight e5, and then with the threat of either knight c7, knight f7, or the move knight c6. And after knight e5, basically I'm going to take on f7, and that's why my opponent played the move knight h5 in order to deal with knight e5 with the move queen f5. And again, this is actually a crushing move here white has. Okay, so again, you just pause the video and try to find out the best move here. Okay, friends. So here, actually, I'm not able to find out the best move. I found the second best, which is of course winning, but the crushing move is 95. Okay, it's not like I'm not seeing this move, but I'm not seeing the final move in this combination. Start with the move 95. So after 95, queen f5, because otherwise I'm taking on f7 next move. So queen c7 is simply made by knight f7 and wins a queen. Otherwise, next move I'm going to play knight into f7. So my opponent has to play queen f5 in order to defend the f7 pawn. Now knight is on check, king d7, and again pause the video and find out the best one. Knight b8 check, a very typical move actually. So I found this move, but the next move I was unable to find. And after king d8, the correct move is knight e6 check. And again, why knight b8 check? Okay, surprisingly, because actually surprisingly here we are going through the game with the weak diagonal a4, I mean a4 e8 weak diagonal. Here as well, this knight b8 check is basically in order to exploit this a4 e8 weak diagonal. So again, if you have not seen my previous theme of this a4 e8 weak diagonal, you can just go through my previous theme on this on YouTube videos. Okay, so knight b8 check, and if you take with the rook, still I have queen b8 check, queen a4 check. And the point is, still you cannot play rook b5 because of bishop to b5, and king d8 is simply made by queen e8 checkmate. So let's move to the after knight b8 check. If king d8, then the correct move is knight e6 check, and still opponent cannot take my piece. And if king e8, then queen a4 check. If you take on e6, I can just take it back with the f pawn, and king e8 is still made by the same problem, the move queen a4 check. And this is how you can simply win with the move knight e5, which I was not able to find. Okay, so let's say I played the move bishop e5, which is also reasonably well and which is also winning. And now my opponent played f6. Now I played knight d4. Again, I am just trying to improve my pieces and going towards my opponent's king as far as early as possible. So I played knight d4, bishop b7, knight d e6 check, king c8, and now I played queen into h5. After f6, queen into e5, and still you see I didn't play any piece back. Either my piece comes forward or on the same rank, and this is what our Gajini theme is. And after queen into e5, queen d6, and okay, I think probably this is the only trap, because otherwise his king remains very in a danger. So after queen d6, queen d6, e d6, knight into a8, bishop into a8, and bishop into a6, and the game still continues for a few more moves. But the point is, this game is already winning for white. So even if black plays bishop b7, we can just take on b7. We'll play king e2 and c4, and put my rook on b1 or a1. And black is still in zugzwang, because if he move his bishop, he'll lose another pawn on g7, and he cannot play rook g8, because after knight f5 his bishop on e7 is still hanging, and that's why here this position is winning, and we can stop it here. So this is another theme based on Gajini pieces. And okay, again, I would recommend you to go for second a3, except that tournament is just a fun tournament for you, or maybe you can just play it occasionally. Otherwise, opening point of view is not that great. Okay, so hope you have enjoyed this series, and stay tuned for my future videos. And if you have, I mean, if you really like my videos, please subscribe to my channel, and like my videos as well, and click on the notification window for the future video notification. Thank you, friends. Thank you very much.